So good afternoon, everyone, and it's lovely to be on this side of the stage for a change. I'm just 23 years old. I just graduated from university about a year and a half ago, and I started this company from a hostel dorm along with a friend of mine. The impact was very simple. We, as students, as university students, we quickly realized that content, information, education is going to rapidly change in the next few years. Coding, website development, data science, machine learning, we have all of that available on our fingertips right now. But what is it that still remains the same? So for the past 2 days, I've listened to a lot of speeches, a lot of beautiful comments that are being passed about how do we impact the next generation, about how do we create a new India. And while I was preparing for my speech, I wanted to actually be a bit different. I wanted to create an impact so that you guys could take something away. And when I actually thought about it, I realized that I am the new India. I am the future generation that universities and chancellors out here are going to revamp. So I wanted to share my journey being a student and being on this side of the table. So how do I perceive and how do I see what the next generation of education is going to look like? We're going to have a lot of intelligent tutoring systems coming in. There'll be data analytics, there'll be predictive learning, there'll be a lot of virtual assistants coming into the fore. The impact of this is going to be tremendous across multiple domains. The biggest impact that I see as a student is that hard skills are going to be a lot more common. So we wouldn't really depend on a university. We wouldn't really depend on teachers and professors to teach us a lot of other hard skills. It's going to be a lot more common and a lot more easier for us to learn. Knowledge and education is going to become a lot more personalized going forward. So if I want to learn something, I would make sure that I end up doing it without going through the entire realm and without going through the entire process of studying a lot of different other things. And the last point, which is probably my favorite, is that education is going to become a lot more accessible and a lot more inclusive to people with disabilities and people who do not have the access to these opportunities. So how do we make education more effective, right? And Three Idiots is one of my favorite movies. I'm sure all of us have seen it. And Three Idiots has a beautiful line that says that we are often taught to chase success instead of excellence. What if we chase excellence and success is going to follow? But till today, our education system kind of teaches us to chase marks, to chase a higher job, to chase getting into the best university. And somewhere deep down, we do not intend to build the next generation of leaders. So how do we do that? And for this, I'm going to just take a step back and revamp a bit of my own journey. So growing up, I was always told that once when you enter university, learn to pick up a lot of hard skills, learn to pick up stuff that's going to make you employable. So I did that. I learned a lot of coding. I built a few products. I built stuff that essentially did not take off. And one of the reasons why I did that, one of the takeaways from that entire experience was basically the fact that I realized content is available to me, technology is available to me, but what is not available to me is the guidance and expertise of human beings, of people who have that real life experience and people who've done stuff before in their lives. And that's how I came across, the effective power of mentorship. How I look at education is we have to be a lot more inclusive with not just futuristic tech, but integrate that futuristic tech with human expertise going forward. Human experiences, I see so many mentors and so many leaders sitting in this room right here. But how are we going to make use of all this knowledge? How do we make use of so much of experience that people have garnered over years and years of education? Is technology the only way forward? I would say technology is going to take 60 to 70% of most of our time, most of our skills going forward. With the remaining 30% and probably the most crucial 30% of making companies, making startups go from 0 to 1 is actually through effective mentorship. And this mentorship should come through people sitting like you in the room. People who are out there in universities, people in industries who are actually doing a lot of work, but somehow that mentorship system is not getting passed on to the next generation. So what did we do different at Launchpilot? Today, like I said, I am just 23 years old. I am seeking mentorship in every nook and corner, whatever is available. And when we started off Launchpilot, we had a simple goal. We wanted to make mentoring a lot more regulated. Today, universities have a mentoring system. There are mentors just like in every nook and corner of the world. Just like cricket, for example. Everyone in India has an opinion on cricket. But there's a difference in being a cricketer and there's a difference in actually giving those opinions. Similarly, with mentorship, there is so much of knowledge out there, but it is such an unregulated and unfragmented industry that entire expertise is not getting passed on to the next generation. So we came up with this mentor-specific skill model specific to Launchpilot, where we worked with a lot of experts, we worked with a lot of college experts, a lot of networking professionals, and we realized that in order to make mentoring a lot more specific, mentors themselves have to be trained. So just in the previous panel, there was a lot of points that were mentioned about how do you upskill teachers, how do you upgrade teachers, and that is what we are doing at Launchpilot as well. We have an entire ecosystem where we have so much of respect for our mentors, but we also understand that in order for that mentorship to be effective, they do need to undergo some form of training that makes them a better mentor going forward. And effectively, we have that same for the mentees as well. So at Launchpilot, I personally look at outcome-based education in two very broad facets. One is your job creators, which is the next generation of entrepreneurs, people who are going to build stuff, and the other is the job seekers. And again, I am of course more inclined towards a stronger entrepreneurship mindset, because I feel that as students, we should be empowering to be the next leaders. We should be creating jobs. We should be looking to create real outcome. And that's only going to happen through the power of mentorship and through effective leadership going forward. Again, a very critical aspect that I realized at this juncture was that as a student, I have access to content. I have access to courses. I have access to a lot of different platforms. But what is missing is, of course, along with mentorship, a network, right? In order for my skills to be accessible, I need to have that network. I need to be connected to the right people. LinkedIn does a great job at doing that. But to be very honest, a university student will not have that much of an impact on LinkedIn. Number 3 is to have a community. And universities out there are probably the last set of communities that a human being is closely tied to. Because after that, you get into a job, you have a very close-knit community, and that's about it. So we wanted to take into these 3 accounts. Number 1, mentorship. Number 2, build a solid network. And number 3, build a very inclusive community. Because along with all the hard skills that I've acquired through AI and through a lot of these other mediums, I need these 3 human touches to make me go to the next level. So we came out with 2 very specific programs. One is called the Global Entrepreneurship Program, and the other is called the Career Advancement Program. And each of these programs are actually backed by a network of global experts that we have. We have our offices in California, in Gujarat, and we are officially based out of Singapore. So just to touch on the Global Entrepreneurship Program, how do you empower the next generation of university leaders, right? We have tons of brilliant ideas that university students have, but why do they not implement this? Why do they not use it on a side? Why do they not have access to a community that they can actually leverage upon? Why do they not have an expert network that they can use to actually upskill their own startup ideas? And that's how we structured this Global Entrepreneurship Program, where we connect our universities with a pool of experts that we've garnered through our networks. We've reached out to startup CEOs. We've reached out to members who've done stuff before. And this was entirely a passion project because I loved building. So I really liked, talking to people who've done stuff before. We got them onto our platform and we realized that these people, these experts, they actually had an urge to give back to society. They wanted to use their experience. They wanted to be connected to the next generation. So we devised a very good mentoring program where we have domain-specific filters. So as a startup, if I am a technical person and I need mentorship with business or development or fundraising or marketing, we have very domain-curated specific mentors to get them out. Our platform is again powered by AI models where we can help students get their ideas up the ground. So we've taken care of all the components. The only component which is the final piece in the puzzle is the mentoring piece, because that is what is needed to take ideas to the next level. Then we have the Career Advancement Program. So at the Career Advancement Program, we again realized that and again I heard this somewhere yesterday, that students really do not know what they want, right? They are exploratory, and this is a very common thing that happens with students. Up till grade 10, they are made to study all subjects. In grade 11 and 12, they are made to do a sudden choice between science, commerce, or arts, and so on. And someone who has never studied commerce will never know what commerce is. So people make vague decisions. People do not know, what is the right course for them, what is the right path for them, because they've not been exposed to that eventually, right? And our universities, again, our schools and universities do have these mentoring programs, but like I said before, it's very unregulated. So what we do in our career advancement program is that we approach these universities, we tap into their existing knowledge database that they have, which includes their professors, their existing mentors, their alumni, which is such a strong and a key component of a university. And we train them to be effective mentors so that they can actually teach or get the next generation of leaders out. We've done this across a lot of universities in Southeast Asia. We've partnered with NUS, NTU, and all the other big names. And we were looking to how to come back and make a substantial impact in a country as diverse as India. Yep, that's about it for me. I do have some time left. And again, I wanted to just be very honest. I'm just 23 years old, looking for mentorship, but also on the hunt for making mentorship a lot more regulated and a lot more structured, so that people like me, so that the next generation of students like me can actually go out there and make an impact. Thank you.